In this video, I'll go over value and reference parameters in C++. I give you the definition at the end of this video. I'll start by going over an example. Let's define this function. The return type is, let's say, an integer. The name of the function is, we call it demo value reference, right? I'm demoing the value parameter and reference parameter. There are two parameters for this function. The first one is x and the second one is int ampersand y. So the first parameter that you see in this function, that's a value parameter. And the second parameter is a reference parameter. The reference parameter is distinguished from a value parameter by the ampersand that sits next to it. So y here is a reference parameter and x is a value parameter. Inside the function, I can define total variable, which is a local variable, and place the sum of the two variables x and y in it. I can also return the total, just like the past examples. But what if inside this function I actually change the value of x to let's say 200, and also change the value of y to 300. Right? When we call this function demo value reference function, when it's called, values are assigned to x and y. We pass values to x and y. We add those values, store it in total in line 9, but then we reset the value of x and the value of y. Now we go to the main program, the main function, and set up lines of code to call this demo value reference function. Inside the main function, I am going to declare an integer variable a. Let's assign to it 1. Also an integer variable b. I'm going to assign to it 2. Right? And then I am going to actually look at their values, see out a is equal to the value of a, and b is equal to the value of b, and line. We can also see out and say a plus b is equal to, then do a function call, demo value reference, and pass as parameter the variables a and b, and line. So in line 20, basically, I'm calling the function demo value reference, passing a and b to it as parameters. So x becomes a, y becomes b. So x is 1, y is 2. We add them. 3 is stored in total, and total is returned here. So this demo value reference function call will be replaced by number 3. Now, here's the important thing. After this function call in line 19, I'm going to take a look at the values of a and b again. Control V. Right? That's what we want to look at. Now, before I run this program, let me just go over it very briefly, and then we'll run it. We have this function, demo value reference. The return type is an integer. It receives two parameters. The first one is a value parameter. The second one is a reference parameter. It's referenced because the ampersand is next to it. Inside the function, the parameters, the integer parameters are added. Their sum is stored in the local variable total. We change the value of x and y. We assign 200 to x, 300 to y inside the function, and return the value of total in the function. Now, going to the main function, declare two variables a and y, initialize them to 1 and 2, then print their values inside the main function. call demo value reference function, passing to it a and b as parameters. So x will receive the value of a, and y will receive the value of b. And then after the function call, we're going to take a look at the values of a and b again. Now, the question here is, when new values are assigned to x and y inside the function in lines 10 and 11, and when this function call is finished and we come back to the main, would the value of a be equal to 200 and value of b be 300? That's the question. What would be the value of a and b? And that's why we're printing the values of a and b before the function call and after the function call. So if we run this, go. So here is the output. A is 1, B is 2. That's this line, line 18. That's printing the values of A and B. Line 19 says A plus B. So 1 plus 2 is 3. So this 3 is the return value of demo value reference function call. But then when you look at line 20, what happens? A still has preserved its original values, is still 1, but B is changed to 300. So what does that say? That says that if a parameter is passed as a value parameter, right, just like A in this case, any changes made to the value parameter inside the function is not going to transfer over to the parameter in main. But for reference parameter, in this case y, right, and b basically, if you update the value of reference parameter, in this case y was changed to 300, that change will transfer over to the main function where the function was called, right? So the parameter b is also updated to this new value of 300. You can see that it is printed, b is equal to 300. That printout comes out of line 20. And additional information is that a value parameter, when you make a call by value, a copy of A is passed to the main function. So a copy of A, the value of A, is passed to the function, and the function demo value reference works with a copy of A. So any changes that's made, it's made to the copy. But if a parameter is passed by reference, the actual parameter, the actual B, is sent to the function, right? Y is basically is B. So any changes that's done to Y inside the function is indirectly, it's done to B as well. So it isn't a copy that's sent up to Y, it is actually the address in the memory of the parameter B that's passed to Y. That's called call by reference.